this mastermind is so different, right? Like we have a plan for it. Usually we've got a hot topic, but we still want to answer any real estate questions that you have. So feel free to post them in the chat. And so let's just dive into it. So
Yeah.
we've got some different topics that we want to share, but first we want to share like the beginning and why we even decided to do this mastermind. And so basically I get asked a lot of questions. I shared on my Instagram story today. I think some people need to be muted, huh? So I shared on my Instagram story today that I really wanted to start this mastermind because I get asked a lot of questions from real estate agents on Instagram a lot. And it was so hard for me to just like send these elaborate responses back. So I was like, dang, what if I just like hop on a call, never thought I'd have a topic or a co-host, but that I could just like answer these questions and like allot this time slot, right? And then I actually did a call with a realtor. We did like a social media topic. I love her. She gets all my new Smyrna Beach people. But we did a mastermind together and it was great. And like a couple weeks went by and I just felt like her and I were so much alike. We did our businesses very similar. And Amanda, so she had been on Instagram and she had been following me and like we've communicated a little bit back and forth, but all of a sudden, this is a great learning lesson.
Yes.
All of a sudden she started showing up on Instagram stories and I finally was able to like know who this person is, which this is a prime example of like how can other people know who you are and find out how you are and know, like, and trust you if you're not showing up on video. So Amanda showed up on Instagram stories. I was like, this girl is crushing it with for sale by owners and expired listings. And I just love her attitude. And it just like, you attract like-minded people. And that's what's so freaking fabulous about social media. So I was seeing Amanda, we started talking more and I decided, I was like, hey, I've had this idea about a mastermind call. I would love to do it, but I don't want to do it by myself. Like, I feel like it'd be awesome to have another person so you have that banter. And I would love to do it with you because like you run your business so differently than I do. So I feel like it'd be great to give people another perspective. So I randomly hit up Amanda. I'm like, hey girl, do you want to commit to doing this every single week with me every Wednesday? It's just like a thought I've had. And like no questions asked, Amanda, you were like, yeah, totally. I'm in.
Let's do it. I'm in. I don't know what I'm talking about yet. I don't know what's on yet, but I don't know who's there. Is it just gonna be like, one agent from my office, like just like, hey, but
no, I got a whole crew.
Right? But yeah, that's exactly it. It's showing up. It's in getting in front of people, being persistent, right? Like, think about it. If I wouldn't, just like you said, if I wouldn't have showed up, you would have never even known about me. And think of your business. If you're not showing up, think about all the clients that you're missing out on.
Yes. But the people who like do continuously show up, I'm so appreciative of them. But one thing that I want to say is like this time that we have committed to you to show up, like this is such a great opportunity. I wish I would have known about two chicks that ran their business so differently when I first started and had the opportunity to ask them questions. Like I am looking at my numbers right now at 11.5 million this year. I feel as though I can provide a lot of value to you and give you a lot of tips and suggestions. So this is a great time to ask your questions. And, I posted today on my Instagram story how a realtor reached out to me and asked me about should she start a team, and I had no idea who she was, and I was like, how am I supposed to answer this? First of all, I'm really busy, so I don't have time to like give you this elaborate answer, but I'm like, man, why doesn't she come on our mastermind call and ask these questions? And so I'm really gonna, and ever since after I made that post today, I got so many more questions, and I'm like, come on the mastermind call. This is like where the time is to like take advantage. So I'm going to keep stressing that because at the end of the day, like this is the time that I've allotted to give to other realtors. I want to help. I want to I want other people to succeed, and this is your time to ask questions. So I just wanted to stress that.
For sure. Well, and you know, like just like you said, like we run businesses differently, and like
Yeah.
all of y'all are in totally different markets, right? Like we all have different, some work only with buyers, some with sellers, you know, some work a heavily referral based business, whereas others are cold calling and door knocking. Like we are all different, and yet we all have a big goal of helping as many families as we can, providing value and showing up, growing our business, and all of those things. And, you know, that's really when we came together and we said, you know, what's the purpose of this? What do we want individuals to get out of it? And it was exactly that. Like, just show up, ask us questions. We want to be here for you. You know, it's not like we get paid for this, right? Like, it's just an excuse for us to drink some champagne and get together.
Actually, we never drink. Like that one time when we talked about finances, and like both Amanda and I had a drink, but like we didn't disclose that. And all of a sudden I was like, you know what, by the way, like I'm having a glass of wine. She's like, I got a Truly. Nobody.
Yeah, but yeah, I just absolutely love this and love seeing that we have just consistent people showing up. And whether you've been in the business a week, a month, a year, 10 years, like we hope to provide value for you, and we hope to get, you know, value from you in return. Like, you know, we're always learning and growing from other agents, right? Like there's plenty of market share out there. I don't think anybody's stepping on each other's toes over here. So.
No, I'm actually really surprised that like more agents from Jacksonville aren't on the call. But and at the end of the day, like so many people say, like, why do you help other realtors and tell them exactly what they're doing? And we all know, like, you can tell someone literally verbatim exactly what to do, but are they actually going to implement those things?
Right.
But also there really is enough business for all of us. Like so many people in Jacksonville have my guides, and I'm like, who cares? It doesn't matter, right? Like there's enough business for all of us out here. So
yeah, definitely. So yay.
Okay, so I did want to say that, you know, a lot of people will message me and like, oh my gosh, it's just so awesome, like having this mastermind, and like I do appreciate it and I love it. But I've like told many people before, like you could start your own mastermind, and you're going to attract different realtors than I'm going to attract, and the way you run your business is so differently. And I just wanted to share that, I had felt like I wasn't worthy enough to like host a mastermind. Like, do I have enough business to be able to be like, hey guys, come on this mastermind that I'm hosting? And I think like you might have felt that way too, Amanda. I'm like, you freaking are so successful. And I just think that like we have it in our heads that like we aren't worthy, or we shouldn't do like these certain things in life. And it's just like, we're all worthy of all these things. And if you wanted to host a mastermind, a podcast, whatever, a YouTube channel,
right? Like we have this like limiting self-belief. Like, okay, once I get to X amount of closed units or X amount of volume, then I'm worthy enough.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about, right? It's about providing value, showing up, and
that's all we've done. Like we've been so real and authentic, and sometimes Amanda's shown up in the parking lot of a gas station to still show up for the mastermind call. I mean, what? I would have been like, girl, sorry, driving home. I'm not stopping. It was like, well, yeah, it's 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock your time. Like, I'm going home. I can't make it. And like, gosh, that is some serious dedication.
But think about it. That's because like we find so much joy in doing this, right?
Yes.
Like, this is something that we look forward to all the time. And like, hey, negotiating off or writing a contract, out showing, and yet we still try to find as much time, because this and you guys showing up is what we're here.
It fuels the fire. There's been times where even tonight I had so much shit to do, and like this job, it like, let's just be honest, I mean, I don't know about y'all, but it's extremely stressful for me. So I feel like sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't want to get on this call, like I've got all these other things to do. and sometimes I don't really want to, but I get off the call and then I'm messaging Amanda and I'm like, that was so good. That was so much fun. And then I'm hyped up and I'm up for like 5 more hours. So it's like, y'all being here, I hope you realize like how much it really does like fuel our fire, and it makes my week. I mean, it's the most exciting thing I do. So
Yeah, for sure. And let's think about like how many agents like we've connected with, and then like we've had some pretty cool guests on our show.
it's basically a show.
It's like a show. But I mean, we've had some really cool people, right?
Yeah, we have. I'm actually surprised that we haven't brought on more. I feel as though like you and we bring a lot of content. We do want to bring on people. So if you have any recommendations, like please share them with us. We would love to bring them on. We want to always bring different perspectives because everybody runs their real estate business so differently. But I'm surprised we haven't brought on more people. But of course, my absolute favorite person is Ricky Griff.
Yeah. He was so good. And we had so many people on that call and people still talking about it.
Yeah. I felt really proud because I have talked about him so many times on here. I'm like, oh, well, I do this because of Ricky, or like I saw Ricky Cruz did this. So to actually have him on here was just really freaking cool. I loved Greg McDaniel as well, though. Like he has so much energy and you could literally bring him on about any topic whatsoever and he can just like give all the tips and suggestions about it.
So for special guests, would you say your favorite was Ricky?
Yeah.
Ricky, Greg?
Yeah.
So I was thinking about it and I think my favorite guest was Jamie Tolick.
Oh, yeah.
No. Because it was right when COVID hit. Yeah. It was like becoming a local celebrity. And she had so many cool things about video. And it like blew everybody's mind. Everybody was like, oh my gosh, what are you using? What software are you using? Where are you uploading these videos to?
Yes, I got the GoPro 9 Black because of her, and I had not even researched it at all. That's the power of social media. And when you know, like, and trust somebody, she had just posted a video, like, I just bought this thing, I'm going to start doing videos. I was like, where did you buy it? I'm getting that right now. Did not even research it whatsoever. I was like, I trust you. I believe that this is a good product, and I'm going to get it. But what was really cool about her, too, was she moved to a city that she did not know anybody. And now, oh my gosh, I was messaging her the other day and she has like 14 deals under contract and 15. And I'm like, that's freaking amazing.
Yeah.
So much to learn from her.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we've had some really cool guests. Greg was super fun. Amy Flores, oh my gosh, she is like so genuinely just like loves her people. And that episode was on like loving your people and how to be genuine and authentic. And like, they just then gravitate to you. She was really good. She's here in Dallas. And yeah, we've had some really awesome people on. And by the way, if you guys do know of anybody that we should have on for the future, we are always looking to have specific people on, or like have anybody on really, but specific topics related and all of that to bring you awesome content that's not just from us. So if you have anybody, let us know.
So I saw on my YouTube channel, I post all of our masterminds on there, most of them anyways. And I was like looking at the number of views, which I try not to ever look at on any platform. But I was like, which ones are like, seem to be like the most popular? I'm going to look at the views. And the ones where we were talking about social media were like blowing all the other episodes out of the water. And it's just so interesting how intrigued people are by social media. And I just feel like it's because people struggle so much. And I'm like, we got to do more, because not to be biased, but that's my bread and butter.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and people come to you for social media, right? Like, so that's like, without a question, not surprising that that's the number one on your page. So I did the same thing, and I never look at views, but today I put them in order just to see. And Expired Bootcamp was the number one most viewed YouTube on my channel. So isn't that so funny? It's
I
like,
mean, I feel like that's what I was intrigued. I was like, I'm going to take notes.
right.
I'm going to learn as much as I possibly can because I know you just crush it on there. And that's another thing that people really struggle with is making those calls. And I will say, so the other night I made some calls. Sunday night I was like, I made this a goal this morning, and I'm just like not quitting on myself. And even though like I didn't get home till like 6, I still needed to eat, all the things. I think I wrote up an offer that night, and I was like, I'm still making these calls. And y'all, I honestly, people were talking to me too much that I was like, okay, I've already got your email, I've already got all your information, like, let's move on. I feel as though like if you just show up confident and you don't have any crazy expectations. One guy did tell me, he was like very frazzled that I was calling, and he was like, I wasn't expecting a call, and he hung up on me. And I was like, next. Like I just didn't like overthink it, and I was just like, I was expecting crazy shit. So like that was the crazy stuff, and now we moved on, and like I got some really good seller leads from it.
That's so awesome. And isn't it funny that they answer on, a Sunday evening versus,
Yeah.
Monday at 11 a.m. when you probably, that's like,
Like this is like prime time, I think. Like I did leave like several voicemails, but I just left in the voicemail. I was like, hey, it's Stevie with Keller Williams. Give me a call back. And I was like, oh, no one's calling me back. I said Keller Williams. They're not calling me back. They called me back. They were like, you called? And like I couldn't remember their address, and I was like, yeah, do you have any questions about real estate? I was like, just don't overthink it. Don't feel like you need to have all the answers or anything. I literally had no idea who Susie was calling me back, and I was just like, yeah, just wanted to see if there was anything I could do to help.
love it.
Yeah, it's like, oh my gosh. So now like
Progress is perfection, right? So like the progress is like picking up the phone and making 10 extra dials that you might have not done before because you're like, oh, I only have, 30 minutes. I only have an hour.
Yeah.
It's progress, right?
Well, I have been seeing so much success with my buyer weekly email. Like just like Ricky Cruz preached like crazy last week, and he does in so many videos. I've seen so much value in that, but I really was only emailing buyers, like potential buyers for in the future. And I was like, yeah, I really wanted to create other content for sellers. So that's the reason why I was making calls. Is it wasn't like, oh, I'm expecting to get a listing appointment by circle prospecting. It's like, I'm wanting to get their email so I can build that database for my weekly seller email and build that relationship that way. So I'm not having to call and text and stop by. Like they're going to get this content from me every single week. And it's worked so well with me for buyers that I'm like, it's going to pay off. It's just going to take some time.
Right. And I mean, I don't know about you, but whether they buy or sell now, 5 years, 10 years, like I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be here.
Yeah, so, and even if it is 10 years from now, I'm still going to have a license. Even if I'm not selling, I will know a realtor that I can still make and help out that deal, which I'm sure I'm going to have my real estate license. Let's be real.
Yeah.
And still working. But I'm just saying, like, I'm always going to be able to help them no matter what their timeline is. And I think a lot of realtors, they do calls and they get so disappointed. Like that first week they made some calls and then like no one invited them over to their house or something to list. And then they're like discouraged and they give up and they're not consistent with it.
Right. Well, and the point too, I always say this, like, one, you've either got to ask for the appointment or set up a future appointment. So whether you're asking for the appointment to come list their house, to call them back in a week, to email them by Monday, to put together this or that, like, guys, an appointment doesn't mean you have to sit down with them today at 5 o'clock to go over a listing presentation. That's not the definition of an appointment. So whatever it is, set up an appointment, get their information, email them, call them, text them, FaceTime them, door knock them, email them, whatever it is.
how about Brittany wrote, where do you get the numbers to call? Or I guess, what's the best way to do that? That is literally my one fear, is making cold calls. So I want to know from Brittany, like, what are you fearful of? What are you so scared of with making the calls? Hopefully she'll pop on video, or at least like write it in the chat.
Well, when it comes down to it, don't think of yourself as a salesman. Think of yourself, we're in the
resource
of relationship business, right? We service people and we just happen to sell real estate. So are you scared that they're going to tell you no? Are you scared that they are going to tell you to get lost or F off?
Well, that guy who told me he wasn't expecting a call and just hung up on me, I was like, okay, bye. Like, on to the next one. Like, rejection and like getting yelled at.
Yes, Amanda. Oh, okay. I'm scared of not knowing what to say. So that is awesome. And this is why I preach scripts. Ricky said it perfectly last week. It's having a script, knowing what to say, but then putting your own twist on it. So knowing what to say, yes, it comes from a script, but if you look at the script, memorize, internalize it, and then you put it into your own words, that will give you the direction of the conversation. And I always say the person who asks questions controls the conversation. So do you know what questions that you should be asking? If not, I would challenge you to go write a list of 10 immediate questions that you can ask a buyer and a seller. And then you just have a conversation and throwing in those questions. You will be controlling that conversation, and they probably won't even have any objections to say because you're just having a conversation, right?
Yeah, I really went into it as like, I didn't have a script, and I just feel as though I was like, I'm just going to ask questions. And like that book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, I feel like has completely changed my life and has helped me like with conversations and just continuously asking questions. And they might not even be like about real estate. Like one woman was telling me that the house is vacant because her aunt died. And I was just asking her question after question and just like, well, what can I do to help? What can I do to help you? Like, you're not local. You know, I have contacts for everything. I gave her an example of a seller that I helped out that morning to get a better cost with a contractor and a quicker work time. And it's just like, I don't know. I just don't think you should overthink it. But I do think if you're new and you're just getting into real estate, like I've learned so much from listening to other realtors do calls that now I'm like, no, you should have done this or that. Like, you should have talked faster. You should have gone in. You should have asked them, you know, you kind of have to like recon like how they are. Like, are they talking really loud and fast, or are they really quiet and like timid? And I don't know. I just feel like I've learned like people just don't want to take the time to like listen and watch these live videos and stuff like that, or scripting and role playing with other realtors. Like, it's like they don't want to take the time, but in order to get better, you have to do those things. And also at the end of the day, you just got to dive in and make the dang calls, and you're going to end up getting better through the whole process. Like, I was expecting the other night, I'm like, I'm going to do so bad. Like, who cares? I'm going to learn. This is my learning process. That's my expectation. And then afterwards, I was like, that was great. I was like, I need to do this again. Why am I not doing this more?
Right. I always say it's like the not so sexy thing about real estate. Lead generating. Yes, you're making cold calls, but at the same time, like, I've had my best clients through cold calls and expireds. Those are my number one raving fans. They love me. And it's because you're doing the not so sexy thing of real estate, what other agents aren't willing to do, right? It's always the question that like highly successful people ask, what are you willing to do to not live like other people, right? Like however that saying goes, but you know what I mean? Like, what are you willing to do? Like, in order to outgrow and outpace and out some of your competition. And
well, she had mentioned like rejection, and I think that's a lot of things with realtors is they're so worried that this person's going to be like, oh, F off or whatever. And like, that's fine. Like, go for no. Just keep going. Like, call over, move on to the next one. What's so great in my mind about like the dialer is that if I was hand dialing these people, first of all, I get so distracted. And, you know, if I feel like slightly discouraged, I might just be like, all right, whatever. I'm not going to call this next person. But when the dialer is rolling, like that is really helpful with accountability to not like log off, because you have to like log off the session.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like it's just so helpful to have that dialer, have it rolling. I was doing other things at the same time. And then I'm not having to like say my voicemail every single time. All I have to do is like click a button and it's a pre-recording of me. So I just feel like, gosh, it's made so simply for us. And I feel as though like I'm not taking advantage of it. And I think probably more of us should.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. It's totally accountability.
And who cares if someone tells you to F off? Like, it's kind of funny. You're just like, whatever.
Right. Well, and they say a no is closer to a yes, right? So
Yep.
like they say go for no because the quicker you get a no is the quicker you get a yes.
Yes.
And that's just the way that it goes. And I mean, honestly, if somebody tells me to F off, get lost, lose my number, guess what? They're on my list to call the next week, the next 2 weeks, the next month. I'm calling them and I'm saying, hey, it's Amanda with Keller Williams again. Remember me? And they're like, man, girl, you don't give up. That's right. And that's the kind of agent you want representing you, right? So let's set up a time to meet today at work for you.
And you have told me so many stories of like agents saying to you with these FSBOs and expireds, like you have not given up. And you know these realtors, they usually only call one time with the FSBOs and expireds. They're going to call one time. And it's the ones who keep following up and keep providing value are the ones that actually get that listing. And you have told me so many times that these people have, you know, the sellers have said, like, because you didn't give up, because you kept reaching out and they knew your number and they would call.
They're like, oh, this girl again. Hello.
Yep. Yep.
Hey, I mean,
someone asked, where do you get the numbers? I think you get them from another resource than I do, right? Do you use Mojo?
we both use Mojo.
Oh, okay. I think you have given some on previous masterminds, you've given some other free resource ways, but with Mojo, with what I did, I was just circle prospecting, but you buy the dialer on mojosells.com. I was just using it for the CRM once I switched to Keller Williams. And it's only $10 a month, and that's how I do my email templates. But you can buy their single line dialer, the triple line dialer, and that's the same cost every month. And then if you want to buy like for sale by owner numbers, it's $25. Expired, they're $25, and if you want to circle prospect, it's $25 for the month.
That's right. So if you want to try it out for like 1-2 months, like just see what it, you know, what kind of results it brings for you. But the dialer is definitely where it's at.
And what I love about it is like I can be doing other things at the same time. Like it's calling, it's ringing, it's leaving the voicemail, and I've got like tabs open, I'm doing other things. And then it picks up and it's like, Susie's like, hey. And I'm like, hey, what's going on, Susie?
Hey girl, hey. Yeah, no, you are right. I was like, girl, you know I use Mojo. No,
Yes.
Fast People Search is what I use to like reverse prospect and like get any free numbers. If you know like their address or their number and you need to like look up their name, their number, their address, any of that, you just look it up through fastpeoplesearch.com and it's totally free. So, okay, I see some other questions here.
I love the questions.
I want you to answer this one for Kristen. And it is,
what is it?
do you have an intentional social media plan, types of post, when to post, content, etc., or is it random in the moment? Trying to get better with this aspect. Awesome question, Kristen.
Okay, so I feel like people expect like some secret sauce or some quick answer, but it's literally, I'm just sharing what I'm doing every single day. Even if you don't have sales, you're doing a lot of stuff every single day. And I feel as though I'm just sharing all the behind the scenes things that I'm doing. I'm not overanalyzing it. I've shared before that I used to have Hootsuite, and I feel like that helped me get followers, because I remember I was like at 4,000 followers, and all of a sudden I was at 7,000, and I was using Hootsuite, and I was shooting out content posts 3 times a day. And then I felt like I got into storying and things weren't relevant. Like I'm out and about all day doing XYZ and I've got these posts going. And after a year, I was like, this isn't lining up, right? Like I'm wearing a different outfit. I'm not at that house. So I felt like people want to see you being, you know, real and authentic in what you're doing. So I felt as though I'm not going to overanalyze these things, and I'm not going to utilize this app. But if that's something that you think that might be helpful for you and help get that content out there, then I mean, by all means, I used it, and I feel like it did help me get followers because I was pushing out so much content every day, which I still am, but I probably do like 1 post a day, and then I story like a crazy person. And I want to share this. So the other day, I'm sure he's not on here, but this guy who lives in Jacksonville, we were bantering back and forth. He's in real estate. And I was just, you know, I'm always curious to know like how other people get business. And I feel like we can all learn from each other. So I was just asking him, I'm like, you know, how do you make calls, or are you doing open houses? What? And we were chit chatting. And he was like, yeah, it seems like you really hit social media hard. And I was like, yeah, I do. And I was like, this is just what I do. And honestly, like I've shared on here before, like I want to implement other things and other ways to get business. But like, you know, since COVID, like I'm now starting to do open houses, but like I haven't been doing events. Like I haven't been doing things that normally would bring me business. But to make almost $300,000 off social media, I told him this. I was like, I feel like I'm kind of good with that. But I do have goals, and that's why I'm reaching out, because I'm trying to learn like what other people are doing to get business. And like, this is long story short, but I feel like our whole conversation had completely changed. And then he was like, oh shit, like you really get sales from social media? He was like, we should have lunch. And I was like, people don't think that this shit works. And I don't know, think that I'm just showing up to like hang out or something.
For your health. It's fine.
Yeah, like it legitimately works, but if you work, and it's so much more than, I feel like people take what I say about posting and they're like, okay, I'm going to post 3 times a day. That is not what is going to bring you business. What's going to bring you business is, yes, showing up and doing the posts, but doing the videos and engaging. And I meet up with people all the freaking time with no motive. I'm like, hey, do you want to get together and grab coffee? Hey, you should come. When we were having events, do you want to come to this event with me? Or hey, I'm hosting this event, and I invite everybody. And I just feel as though there's so much more into it. It's engaging, it's sending things in the mail to people, it's like having real relationships with people. And I just think that people just take like, okay, she said 3 posts a day, so I'm going to do that to get followers. But like, that's not going to bring you business. Who cares how many followers you have? Are you building like real meaningful relationships with these people? You could have 100 followers, and I feel like that's good. You have 100 people that you're engaging with and friends with. That's awesome.
For sure. I love that. And, you know, when social media is so powerful, because let's think about it, like if you were to mail a postcard to somebody's not going to share your postcard. They're not going to re-share it or like engage with it or something, right? But like with social media, I love it because you can send, so like people will cheer you on if you show up consistently and provide value. And that's what you do. That's why you get so much business from social media, and you're consistent at it.
I think it builds a lot of credibility. So if I run into somebody, I'm like, oh, I'm going to add them everywhere. I want them to see that I'm different and that I actually have sales and I'm out here really trying to help people. And I feel as though if people go to your social media platforms right now, what are they going to see? Are they going to see a hardworking real estate agent who shows up for other people providing content? Are they going to be able to find out your personality? Just like Amanda, I would have no idea who she was if she did not start showing up on video and start posting and start engaging with me. So just think about that. Like, it's so much more than that post. And it's more about you being like, y'all, I'm so authentic. My video today, I was in the drive-thru with the bank teller and she's talking to me. And I was like, I'm not re-recording this. I don't have time. We're going to roll with it. Like, don't overanalyze. I know, like, I'm looking at your beautiful faces and I'm sure y'all redo your recordings. And I'm like, no, people want to see you being real. We're human beings. We're not perfect. I mess up all the time. And I'm like, I'm still posting this because it's real and not perfect. People can relate with me. It was probably funny that the lady was talking to me. I'm actually really funny if you knew me in person. So like, it kind of was like on brand.
That's how we're still friends.
Yes. You can't be a secret agent. Social media.
Put it on the head. You cannot be a secret agent.
Especially with like posting about sales. Like, I cringe sometimes when I'm like, oh, I don't want to share these numbers. I don't want to tell people what I make. But if you don't tell people, how are they supposed to know? And I always reference this when we were at that Keller Williams family reunion and this top producing agent was on stage and she does so much with social media. And like, she went to this award show and she got this trophy. She won this award, whatever it was. And she came home and she told her husband, and her husband was like, yeah, are you going to share it on social media? She's like, oh, probably not. Like, I don't want to like sound like I'm bragging or something. And he was like, how are people supposed to know that you won that if you don't show up and share it with people? And I just like, that always has like resonated with me. And I feel like, yeah, we need to show those things because I'm not just showing up doing these freaking selfies just for fun or like, you know, I share my numbers, but I feel as though, how are people going to know that you actually have business beyond the post, right? Like, you have to share people. Even like the most minimal things, like today, this is our 1 year anniversary. Did we hype this up or what? It's something so small, but I was like, no, this is a big deal. It's credible. We've been doing this for a year, every single Wednesday. Like, I amp up everything. Any podcast I'm on, anything that's even like so freaking small, I will show up. I'm so excited about it. And I feel like that's what resonates with other people.
I love it. So let's end the call with this question because I do feel that this is a really good one that Jody just posted. What do you post if you're a new agent if you haven't had any closings yet?
Oh.
Everything, like literally everything. I will tell you, if you go to my Instagram page, Jody, go to my Instagram page right now. Let me know how many just listed, just sold, pendings, under contracts you see. You're not going to see any. You know what you're going to see? You're going to see real life photos of me, of inside of kitchens, inside, you know, showing and sharing things. If you haven't used Coffee and Contracts yet, I highly suggest it. I feel that like 99% of everybody on this call uses it because it works. It helps you create that content to make you credible. You don't have any listings to share. And to be honest with you, people don't care that you just listed or just sold. Like, that's cool. But what they want to know is, what are the 3 things I need to do right now to make my credit to get my credit in a good place to be able to buy January of 2021? What are the 5 things I need to do to have my offer win in a multiple offer situation? What are closing costs? How much money do I need for a down payment? That is what people are interested in. They don't care about the other stuff.
So how about when I first got started, I was with a brokerage. I was there for 6 months and I had 1 sale. Then I moved to Exit and I had my license underneath this brokerage, but I partnered up with this property management company and I started renting out these rentals and I was there for a year. Long story short, did not have any sales for that entire period of time besides the 1 or 2. And in all that time, like, you do so much, especially as a new real estate agent. You're required to go to all these like new agent trainings. You're trying to get certifications. I was honestly trying to learn as much as I possibly could before I went out there. So I was sharing, like, I got NACA certified. I was getting all these certifications for my license. I was touring resale. I was touring new construction. I had lunch with a different person every single day. And I would sit in the office every single day, 9 to 5 at our beach office. If you were with our brokerage and you came to our beach office, like, you knew I was going to be there unless I was out on appointments. Like, everybody knew, like, Stevie's going to be here. I just sat in the office every single day and I answered those phones. And I did open houses. I did 3 a weekend, 2 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday, without ever having a sale. But this is so much content right there. Like, I'm out of breath from talking about all of it. But I would run into people and they would be like, oh my gosh, Stevie, it seems like you're crushing it. And I'm like, I haven't even had a sale. Like, I never was like, I had a closing today. Never once. I was just like, this is all the things that I'm doing. And I would just, whenever I met somebody new, I met that lender and I would be like adding them on social media. And that's what really helped me out too in the beginning, was these lenders saw a girl who sat in the office all day, 9 to 5, and did 3 open houses a weekend. Who do you think that they want to give their leads to? You know, these lenders get leads and they can give them to an agent. So I'm sure they want to give it to somebody that is showing up and is out all weekend trying to meet people. Like, let people know, if you're meeting up with lenders and you're trying to educate yourself on different loans or have that partnership with them, let them know that, hey, I'm doing an open house this weekend. I would love to hand out your cards. And I've even said to people, once you build a little bit of credibility, hey, I'm going to give you this deal, but are you going to give one back? Even as when I was new, and that's okay. Like, they work off commissions too. So why not put that out there to them? If they say no, they say no. But that was me in the beginning. I had no sales, and I don't even know what came over me, because I feel like social media really wasn't like a thing then like that, like it is now. And there's like all these social media trainings. Like, I had no training and I just showed up. That's
our biggest tool right here. Like, y'all, all you have to do is like take a selfie or take a picture of this kitchen. You know, take my number one most engaged post, and I do it very, very often. It's, what's your rent? And I'll show you what you can afford as a monthly mortgage. And
oh yeah.
Like, I could buy that home. I get so much engagement off that post, y'all. Because when they're like, oh, my rent's $1,500, $1,600, like, but I say that because you have content. You have so much content that you can post. So Jody, go out there and go post.
Don't overanalyze it. I've got a girlfriend here in Jacksonville who takes all my photos, and I take her photos too. And I see like maybe one every 3 to 6 months that she'll post, and she just overanalyzes it like crazy. And I think it's hard not to, but just post it. Who cares?